Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, Text number 27. Vaikarikadvikurvanan Manastatvam ajayata Yat sankalpa vikalpabhyam Vartate kama sambhavaha Vaikarikadvikurvana Manastatvam ajayata Yat sankalpa vikalpabhyam Vartate kama sambhavaha Vaikarikadvikurvanan Manastatvam ajayata Yat sankalpa vikalpabhyam Vartate kama sambhavaha. Okay. Word meaning? Vaikarikat, from the false ego of goodness. Vikurvanat, undergoing transformation. Manaha, the mind. Tattvam, principle. Ajayata, evolved. Yat, whose. Sankalpa, thoughts. Vikalpabhya, and by reflections. Vartate, happens. Kamasambhavaha, the rise of desire. Translation and purport by His Divine A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. From the false ego of goodness, another transformation takes place. From this evolves the mind, whose thoughts and reflections give rise to desire. Purport. The symptoms of the mind are determination and rejection, which are due to different kinds of desires. We desire that which is favorable to our sense gratification, and we reject that which is not favorable to sense gratification. The material mind is not fixed, but the very same mind can be fixed when engaged in the activities of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, as long as the mind is on the material platform, it is hovering. And all this rejection and acceptance is asal, temporary. It is stated that he whose mind is not fixed in Krishna consciousness must hover between acceptance and rejection. However advanced a man is in academic qualification, as long as he is not fixed in Krishna consciousness, he will simply accept and reject and will never be able to fix his mind on a particular subject matter. Amajnanadivrandasya jnananjanacharaga-chakshor-militam yena tasmai Shri-Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manavishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yudhavadakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sadhujatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Bhakta Kancana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krishabhanuste Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarobhyasya Kripa Sindhobhyevacha Padidhanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Vrestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So in this purport, in this sloka, it's very clearly mentioned about from which the mind evolves, which mode mind evolves. This has been given here. So mind evolves from mode of goodness. From the false ego of goodness, another transformation takes place. From this evolves the mind. So Prabhupada mentions about this, and especially there is another qualification or function of the mind is sankalpa and vikalpa. So it accepts and also rejects. This is the function of mind. What is the function of intelligence? Yes, and the buddhi is really guides other senses. Even the mind also comes under buddhi. If buddhi is not there, and you cannot control the mind also. But sometimes even the mind overpowers even buddhi also, the intelligence. Just like Prabhupada explains that even if there is an expert physician and if there is the best medicine, but still efficacy of the disease overpowers the medicine also. So that's the reason we need to understand sometimes the power of the mind. So Prabhupada explains that why this sankalpa and vikalpa takes place, means acceptance and rejections, why it happens. क्यों कभी कभी मन कुछ चीज़ को चाहते हैं और कुछ चीज़ को रिजेक्ट करते हैं, तो त्यागते हैं. So the reason is we have the desire. So इच्छा के कारण so मन कुछ चीज़ को त्यागते, कुछ चीज़ को एक्सेप्ट करते, लेते. जो भी अपना मन चाहते वो अपने इंद्रिय भोग के लिए दैट माइंड विल एक्सेप्ट. जो भी इंद्रिय भोग को ये नहीं है, अच्छा नहीं है, ठीक नहीं है, देन माइंड रिजेक्ट्स. सो इसलिए people sometimes they think that some of the category of different categories of people, those who are jnanis, they think that better stop all these activities, better stop desires, then we can control the mind. They think like that. And before controlling the mind, one should subdue the mind, subdue the senses, which means, and today morning, coincidentally I was hearing one lecture, just a small, just a 1 minute lecture by one sannyasi. He was saying the same thing. So, vairagya, when we do the vairagya, then our senses get subdued. When there is a abhyasa, then we can control the mind completely. Otherwise, it is not possible. And if some people, they do abhyasa, mind will come under control, and they don't do this vairagya. They won't be peaceful. And some people they do some kind of subduing the what you call vairagya. That means some senses comes under control, but it won't remain for longer period. Even in Ramayana also, when Vishwamitra came, he asked Dasharatha Maharaj, "My dear Dasharatha, O king, so how things are happening? So you're able to control your senses?" And he asked, "Yes." "Are you able to control the senses for how long?" That means, so is it happening, is it continuous process, or in between you are leaving it? So, and yes, so continuously he is able to control his senses. Not only his senses, and he was so capable of controlling all the citizens of the Ayodhya. He was protecting and not falling from not fall for sense gratification. Since he was protecting from this sense gratification for all the people who are in the Ayodhya. And can you imagine? And such kind of situations cannot be happen. You can't even imagine in Kali Yuga. That can happen only in those days. And such kind of kings governance. So otherwise, so these days, no, those who are trying seriously, the devotees also it is not so possible. What to talk about them? And that's the reason Prabhupada explains one more. Uh, he gives one more explanation about Buddhism. Nirvana. That's the reason they say that completely reject all these desires, then one can be peaceful. Even that is also not possible. Why? Why? Because we have all the emotions, so these emotions cannot be eradicated. That's the reason. So even this subduing the senses cannot be done like that, because by nature we have all these emotions. They cannot be at once cannot be stopped. So and only the way Prabhupada explains one can control one's senses is by spreading Krishna consciousness momentum, by preaching Krishna consciousness momentum. One can control the mind and senses. By engaging constantly in Krishna consciousness, that is only the way. Otherwise, it is highly impossible to control the senses, control the mind. And you may see so many yogis and so many uh, different kinds of people, they come under control of, for example, I'll give an example. Long ago in Himalayas, they've been practicing yoga. They live in cave, deep cave, two yogis. And when they were practicing, somehow one person, one yogi happened to take another, took away another person, another yogi's mat, straw mat. This person started quarreling with him, and where even they were staying somewhere deep into the cave, and just simple mat, straw mat. For that purpose, they started quarreling each other, and that fight went on and on. So that's the reason we cannot imagine. So controlling senses is not so easy. And Prabhupada gives example of Arjuna. Chanchalai Manak Krishna Pramadi Balavad Dridam. So it is very easy to control the wind, but not the mind. But Krishna doesn't want to disappoint Arjuna, said, since you are engaging in my service, so your senses are already controlled. And another time Prabhupada says that if it is not possible for a person who has the caliber of such a wonderful personality, who has wonderful caliber like Arjuna, and what to talk of Kali Yuga creatures like us, where we can control, how we can control our mind, which is highly impossible. So that's the reason entire world, so they are trying to control their minds. And people, those who are in mode of goodness, they are trying to control their minds. And for the passion, it's really difficult. And ignorance, what to speak of, controlling the mind. So highly possible. So that's the reason one should not think that, and though neither the people who are in uh, Abhyasa or Vairagya, none of them they are practicing, and they expect that to be, they should have some peace. And see, people wants to have peace all over the world. Peace formula or the peace movement, all these things they want, but they never ever wants to practice the peace formula. They never take up this principles of peace siddhanta, how they can get this process, they can get the peace. So that's the reason only peace formula is Prabhupada mentions in Bhagavad Gita. There is a famous sloka. Now, Vinod Prabhu will tell that sloka. Any peace formula sloka? Very good. Bhoktaram Jagyoradam Saralokameshram Surdam Sarabhutanam Nyatramam Shantam Vichati. Shanti. So when if somebody comes to understand that Bhokta, only Bhokta is Krishna, so all of us we are servants of him. And he is the Bhokta not only for one planet or one person, but is all Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Is the enjoyer of all the planets. Then if somebody has this understanding, definitely that person will have complete peace and prosperity. So otherwise, they think that we are the bhaktas and they'll win so. So, and it's very important to understand that so unless until we accept the Krishna, so we have uh, there's no question of having a peace. And Prabhupada says that trying to get the, like just like in the society of dogs, you cannot keep, you cannot expect peace and keep all the dogs in a room, lock it, and say, no, you all should keep quiet, be peaceful. So that is not going to happen. So it can happen only when there is devotion, where there is devotion, and it is possible. So that's why Krishna consciousness is only the solution for making the bringing the peace in the society, bring peace for oneself and to the society. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhupada ki, Chandra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, I got Premanande.